I was 14 years old and I was invited by a friend in high school. Her mom was taking a local aerobics class, and this was before we had big gyms and aerobic classes as we see today, or even, I guess, kind of little boutique gyms are a big deal again now. And this was back in the day when it was just a little strip mall office building that was turned into a space for women to gather. And yeah, I went. I was 14 years old, and I got caught up in the cacophony of spinning and dancing and kicking and all these moms. It was just me and my friend were the young kids. There was a lot of moms in the 80s, and I loved it. I didn't know how much I would love it. I was always a tomboy growing up, so I always had some connection to my body that I would rather be out throwing dirt clogs with my brother and having some type of a tree climbing contest than sitting and reading a book. Not that that's not great, but there's something about my body. And so when I took that class, I laid there in the cool down, and I'm 14 years old. And at 14, you're starting to question all the things. Do I fit in? You're understanding a little bit about boys and sexuality. And I've had my own dysfunction in my house growing up. So I was having all that inner turmoil, but there was something about that class that moved me. And as I laid there in the cool down, I sensed a warmth that washed over me and a sense that everything was going to be all right. I didn't know where that thought came from, but just everything was going to be all right. It felt like it calmed my nervous system, and it did. Now I know I was being calmed, and I felt like whatever that woman just did, I'm going to learn to do that one day. Or there was something that was drawing me into the world of embodiment. I would call it embodiment now. Not, fitness has had its own day in the sun. And I think that's why a lot of women are kind of uncomfortable to talk about it, because it hasn't been done right. It hasn't been done well. We've had a terrible narrative for the body, and the church hasn't really given us a narrative. And what it's done is almost enforce restriction and legalism in a way. And so we haven't really had a great relationship with our bodies. So I think that was grabbed. Oh, the bad narrative is that the body needs to be submitted. You got to control it. That it is the bad thing. That we have to say it's bad. And if I have enough willpower and if I have enough spiritual enlightenment, then this thing will submit to me, which is such a weird thing to think about because Jesus had a body and he gave his body for us. Jesus was not, he got colds and flus. He wasn't impervious to all the things that our body does come against in a broken world, but it still is the beauty to display the kingdom. It is the way that love gets made seen. Jesus touched the healer to heal. Jesus sat and ate. Jesus would get in community, and his body was a part of it. And his body was broken so that ours could be made whole. I think we have been uncomfortable about the body. We have tried to dress it up and put it into legalistic rules. And now we need a better narrative of the wonder and the beauty of the body, that in the beginning, when God made us, Imago Dei, image bearers, that he made bodies. And we were meant to commune with God, with our body. And I think it starts, that's why I love what you're doing, Arlene, is this conversation with families and kids. We have got to have a better conversation with our children about our bodies, but it starts with us having a better conversation about our bodies. And so it's more about the, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. It's this culture or narrative of the body is a culture that is caught, not necessarily taught. Before you had a cognitive word formed, before you could put a sentence together as a toddler or as a young child, your body was teaching you about the world around you. Your body was helping you be curious. Your body learned information. It's called a cognitive embodiment, that your body teaches your brain. So before your brain is really able to put some reasoning into order, your body is helping you to understand this is safe. When you're a baby and you cry, you feel hungry. That's an embodied expression. And then so you cry, and then hopefully someone comforts you and meets your need, and then you feel safe and you can continue to have your body feel safe, even though it can also encounter stress from the moment we're born.